What's going on, guys, and welcome to another horror movie ranking by Mr. Kai. And before I start with anything, I just want to say I appreciate all of you guys for checking out my ranking videos, my G Fuel reviews, and everything else I do. I really appreciate you guys for getting me up to like 400 subscribers in like 2 weeks, and that's pretty awesome. But today, I will be ranking the Friday the 13th movies. This is such a critical franchise for the horror genre in general because everybody knows Jason Voorhees. It doesn't matter if you haven't seen the Friday the 13th movies. You see the big guy in the hockey mask, you know who it is. And somehow Jason Voorhees is usually mistaken to be wielding a chainsaw most of the time, which is not true because Jason Voorhees has never wielded a chainsaw ever. But to see the impact Jason Voorhees has on the horror genre and the people that admire the horror genre, it's just incredible to see. But are all his movies actually that good? Let's find out. So in case you didn't catch my community post, I'm going to be counting the Never Hide Alone series as part of my ranking. If you didn't know what the Never Hide Alone movies are, the short films or fan films, whatever you want to call it, they're basically they're made by Womp Studio, and they're basically Friday the 13th fan films, and they're pretty good actually. Plus other fan films that aren't as popular, that's why I'm not counting them. Now, the Friday the 13th movies have been going on for about 44 years now. And I understand that in that amount of time, they're bound to make a couple mistakes. But I think with my last place, I think people were a lot disappointed with this movie. So that's why last place is going to Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. First off, let's start off with a couple pros. The fight scene between Jason Voorhees and Julius is just very funny, and I just love when Jason Voorhees uppercuts Julian's head off, and it's very cool effect. I love it. And when Jason is in Manhattan, I feel like the red and the blue lights going together looks perfect. We also get Kane Hodder as Jason, which is one of the most iconic people that ever played Jason. But other than that, this movie is not good. First off, Jason takes many forms in this movie, which doesn't make sense. We somehow get different versions of Jason as a kid. And we also get the honor of seeing this thing. And the title, Jason Takes Manhattan, doesn't make sense. What it should say is Jason Takes Manhattan for 10 minutes. That's right, most of this movie takes place on a boat. The characters are not likable whatsoever. All you want to do is just wait for this movie to end. Because it is weird, grotesque, and it is not a lot of fun. Alright, with that horrible monstrosity out of the way, 14th place is going to Friday the 13th, Part 3. This movie is not terrible, but it is not great. Let's start off with the obvious pros. This is a movie where Jason gets his hockey mask, which will be carried through 12 other movies. And the 3D effect does look cool with most of the kills. The blood is also really good. And I also don't mind the person that's playing Jason. I think he does a decent job. Now let's go to the cons. They try and fit the most weirdest stuff as 3D. They do the stupid yo-yo, they drop a wallet, they try and do whatever it is to make it look 3D cool, and it does not really land for me. And the character Shelly can be really annoying at sometimes. And the final girl is not that memorable. But other than that, this movie is pretty decent. Next up is 13th place, and 13th place is going to Never Hide in the Snow. I like this fan film. Pro, but gore in this movie is really good, especially for a movie that's made for YouTube. Jason is just masculine and just very menacing. And that little moment with Pamela Voorhees and Jason is just really nice to see. But if this movie was longer, I'd put it higher. This movie is only 20 minutes. And only half of that is Jason. I want to see more Jason. I need to see more blood. I need to see more Tommy Jarvis, which is when the next one comes in. And there's only 2 kills in this movie. It was definitely hard for me to put this in 13th place, knowing that so many people spend so many hard work and so many hours in this movie because they did a really good job. I just need this movie to be longer. Alright, 12th place is going to Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Now I can see why people would put this lower. And I remember not liking this film very much. But when I rewatched it, I actually kind of admire it now. They try and do something new, which he doesn't completely, but it's better than some other movies. Even though this is the movie without Jason in it, I think that Roy Burns is pretty good in this movie. The characters are okay. And oh my god, don't get me started on Reggie's scream. But I think what happened with this movie is that they saw the success of the 4th film, and they just thought they expected something different with Tommy Jarvis. Some cons is I would have gone a different direction with Tommy Jarvis, like I said. Some characters can honestly be senseless sometimes. And I would rather have Roy Burns reveal himself than rather than just die and then his mask falling off. Like I said, I admire this movie. Now that we're done with that movie, 11th place is going to Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. Now hear me out. I understand the people that would put this last place. It doesn't all land for me. But it isn't that bad either. Okay, I'll admit it. It is kind of weird that Jason is only in like the very first and then the very half of the movie. And the slug is very weird. The practical effects in this movie are pretty good. Especially when the cops blow up Jason. And the fact that they brought the Necronomicon in that movie is just, wow. And I wouldn't have made Jason, like, bloodlines, making him, like, have a sister and everything. I wouldn't put all that in the movie. But the police officer that's kind of hunting Jason, I think he's pretty cool. And that ending is infamous. Where Freddy just, like, comes up out of the ground and grabs Jason's mask. That is very cool. And I feel like the special effects for, like, the creatures that drag Jason down, I think they look pretty good. This movie is good, but it definitely has its faults. Alright, 5 down, 10 to go, with 10th place going to Jason X. I know this movie is hated by many, but I don't really get it. I mean, I see its faults, but, like, I don't really see why people hate it. Yes, I understand that some corny lines and cringe lines are in there, but, like, other than that, this movie's good. I like the scene where, like, the robot is, like, shooting down Jason Voorhees and he ends up getting, like, the upgrade. I think it's a very cool moment in the movie. And that kill with the ice, the nitrogen, he just smashes it, that is very cool. I don't see how you can't love that. And it's kind of satisfying to see all these dumb characters die. But like I said, I do not hate this movie. I actually really like it. So please, if you have not watched Jason X in a while and you feel like you don't like it, please watch it again. Give it another chance, please. You also have to look at it like a different way. Don't, like, look at it as, like, a Friday the 13th movie. Look at it as it, like, some sort of, like, just think of it as a movie. Because people who think about it as a Friday the 13th movie, like, don't really like it. But I like it. Alright, next. 9th place is going to Friday the 13th Part 1 that came out in 1980. Since we might be here for a little bit, I'm going to crack open a cherry Dr. Pepper. This is the movie that started it all. It's a classic whodunit movie with a great twist at the end. Jason Voorhees is actually usually mistaken to be in this movie. It's Pamela Voorhees, his mom, who was in the first one. Jason doesn't show up until part 2. The kills are good, the characters are decent, and the movie's honestly pretty good. It's just that you kind of get bored a little bit with the movie. Like until that very final act with Pamela Voorhees revealing herself to be Jason's mom and trying to kill Alice. I thought the movie was kind of boring. Like, it starts off good, in the middle it kind of gets boring, and then at the final act it gets really good. But I feel like if it didn't have the final act that it did, I feel like I would have put it lower. But this movie is instantly a true classic, with great people behind the scenes. Sean S. Cunningham seems like a really great dude, and that score just gives me goosebumps. Alright, 8th place is going to Never Hike Alone, the first one. I think this honestly shocked every Friday 13th fan when they saw it, because they didn't think that Friday 13th fan film could be this good. So we're kind of following this guy, and he's kind of like doing a hiking vlog, and he runs into Jason Voorhees, and it's just kind of them picturing him running kind of thing. And then at the very end, we get the ambulance driver, and it's Tom Matthews, Tommy Jarvis. I think that was a surprise to everybody. This fan film has great sequences, great blood, and great Jason Voorhees. I like it a lot. It admires me to go out and do like a Friday 13th fan film on my own. Some scenes I could have used without, and I would have had the main character do way more damage to Jason, and I would have had way more kills. But other than that, this encouraged me to go out to do something like this. Alright, we're more than halfway down the list with 7th place going to Freddy vs. Jason. I love this movie. It's got kills, it's got special effects, and most of all, it's got freaking Freddy vs. Jason. This is the mashup of the century. We need more horror mashups like this. The only way we've been getting it is through comic books, and we need more movies like this. The characters are mid, and Freddy Krueger in this movie can be really cringy at times. But it's just hilarious to see Freddy Krueger trying his best to kill Jason, because he's never faced anybody like Jason. And I don't get why Jason would be afraid of water, because he's never been like that with other movies. Jason Lee comes out of water a bunch of times, like no fear, and I don't get it. But I definitely watch this movie often. Like if I'm in the mood for like edge of my seat horror action, I go to Freddy vs. Jason for sure. Alright, 6th place is going to Friday the 13th, 2009 remake. This movie's good. This is actually like the first time I saw this movie this year, like binging them all, and I actually kind of like it. Jason's kind of like a survivor in this movie. He has his like own underground bunker. He has like he's just waiting in an underground bunker, waiting for horny teens to come out so he can brutally kill him. I like it. It isn't my favorite version of Jason, but it isn't my least favorite. It is also filled with past Friday 13th references, which I love. And that ending where Jason stabs like Jenna, I thought it was to make a good final girl, but then she died, so definitely took me by surprise there. And things I didn't like, they once again, they overuse this in a lot of movies, where like they're sitting on the dock, there's like smooth music playing, and then Jason like comes out of the dock, he comes out of water, jumps out of water, like, and then like grabs the final girl. They overuse that, where it's like, we all know what's gonna happen, and it just takes the fun out of it. Alright, 5 more to go. 5th place is going to Never Hike Alone 2. This is just a letter to the fans that we absolutely love. We get way more Tom Matthew with Tommy Jarvis. We get the police officer from the part 6. We get so many other characters that we love. They listened to our request from the first one and they delivered. They add way more suspense, way more kills, and way more blood. I love it. And that actor that they got to play young Tommy Jarvis, I just love. I think he did a great job in that dream sequence. Something that I didn't like the fact that they had to squash Pamela Voorhees' head. I mean, I should just give Jason Voorhees more of a reason to, kill them. And how does Jason Voorhees know where the hospital is? But other than that, this movie is a love letter to the fans, and I love it very much. Even if I did try to do a Friday 13th fan film, it wouldn't be as good as this. Alright, next, we got 4th place. The 4th place is going to Friday the 13th, Part 2. This is the first ever Friday 13th movie with Jason in it. I think, like, the Bankhead looks for him works. The final girl works for me, too. The fact that they got to bring back Bessie Palmer for that little scene, I think it looks cool. Just some of the characters kind of feel weird. But other than that, this movie is really good. The humor in this also lands for me. Alright, we're down to my top 3. Alright, my 3rd place is going to Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. Now I get why many people put this first place, and I totally get it. It has Corey Feldman in it, and we got freaking muscular Jason. And the way Tommy kills him is just really cool. The gore is fantastic. The practical effect in that scene is really good. And yeah, you do get an order of the characters, but that makes me even more satisfying when they die. I didn't even know this. We got George McFly from Back to the Future in this movie. And the scene where Corey Feldman like shaves his head and put like bangs around his eyes, I think it looks pretty cool. And it doesn't really make sense how Corey Feldman, like this, I think he was like 12, could make all of these like Jim Henson masks. I mean, this isn't something that's believable to me. So we're in the top 2 territory now, with 2nd place going to Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. This is the Tommy Jarvis one with Tom Matthews in it. I think Tom Matthews in this movie is like best he's ever done. I think he did really great in this movie. All the humor lands for me. Zombie Jason first appears in this movie, and you actually feel for the characters. And the scene where Tommy and Jason are having it out, and Tommy drowns Jason, when he's down underwater, I think it's a pretty cool effect that they did. And this is the first movie where Jason, you feel like he has some sense where he doesn't want to kill little kids. He just want to kill thorny teens that deserve to die, right? He's not gonna kill a 12-year-old girl. And then the fact that Jason comes back from a freaking lightning bolt looks really cool. Alright, now this is the moment you've all been waiting for. My favorite Friday the 13th film. The first Friday the 13th movie I ever watched. Okay, here we go. First place is going to Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. Now, I'm sure some of you are freaking out, wondering what I'm doing, and I'm just gonna go out and say it. Friday the 13th, Part 7 is my favorite Friday the 13th film. Let me tell you why. They do something completely different that actually lands for me, and it's actually really gnarly. And that's with the telekinetic teenager. I get, the Carrie criticisms and everything, but I think that they try and do something new. It works out great for them, in my opinion. I know some people do not like this movie, but I don't see how you can't love it. It definitely opens up the door for more Friday 13th lore and what telekineticness could mean for the franchise. The kills in this movie are the best there ever been. And this is the first movie with freaking Kane Hodder in this movie. I love it. And this is the first of 4 roles that Kane Hodder played Jason. I think he did a great job portraying Jason. I think that he did a great job kind of doing the shoulder thing where it's like, kind of that thing. I think he looks more menacing than ever. Because he got like that mask that's kind of like part off. And then he got like the other ridges and things on his mask. He looks really scary. I was shown this movie when I was like 10 years old. And I've loved it ever since. But thank you guys so much for watching my ranking video. This is probably going to go out to like 15 minutes. Or even more probably. I really appreciate you guys for checking out this video. It really means a lot to me and my channel. And I hope you guys come to my next one. Which I have no idea when it's going to be. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.